It's Tuesday night, it's 9 pm, and where else would you be other than with us on Gantry TV for the latest round of the RTA Formula V Scholarship Series? After last week's hijinks in the wet of Silverstone, it's back to dry running for the fourth round as we head towards the halfway mark of this championship. So, from the Northamptonshire countryside, we head across the M25 into the county of Kent, and just off the M20. This is an RTA favourite at Brands Hatch. As a matter of fact, it's hard to imagine an RTA season not traversing its near 2 mile stretch. Most days we don't race the Grand Prix layout, and today will be no exception. As we head to the Indy track, 1.944 kilometres, 6 turns, a race lap record, a total of 38 seconds set by Scott Mansell in the Euroboss F1, and a track that's exceptionally well known to all of these guys, both virtually and for many in the real world. It's a grass track, motorcycle circuit turned British Grand Prix track. The famous Paddock Hill Bend, Druids Hairpin, Clearways, Clark's Curve, and the rest that we aren't actually racing. And thankfully for these guys, at least this time around, it's dry. As I'm joined as ever by Evan Dalton, who spent his Saturday last week at a very wet and windy Crow Park. Evan, nice to be back in the dry. Thanks again for joining us. And in a championship that's really heating up, these guys have plenty to play for.
Yes, good evening, Kevin. Good evening, everybody. It is a different championship leader for the first time this season, and for the first ever time, Kamto Chukwa leads an RTA Virtual Motorsport Championship after what was a decent week for him in Silverstone, but more importantly, a poor week for the previous leader, Travis Mawhinney. Tonight's action in Brands Hatch at the former cyclist time trial track, and of course the old military base on Brands Farm. It's bound to be a good one. It's going to be a little bit different this evening. We've talked about slipstream a lot, but drivers are going to have to get their elbows out if they want to make overtakes around the 2 kilometre circuit tonight. And it's going to be difficult to pull them off even with the elbows out. So should be a really entertaining evening of racing.
Yeah, it's a phallic track map, and you want to have balls of steel if you want to get your way around this circuit. As we get to the end of qualifier, or practice, should I say, and I believe that Jordan Kelly has found himself a wheel from somewhere, because Jordan has been absolutely nowhere to be found on the controller, and unless he's been absolutely grafting all week, a 53.9 heading the field ahead of Kamto Chukwa suggests that perhaps Jordan is on a little bit more familiar apparatus this week.
He's not. He's actually on controller as far as I know. So don't ask me where that's come from.
He's on a wheel.
Oh, well, I asked Jordan before the race. I says, Jordan, are you on pad this week? And he goes, yes. So thanks, Jordan. Appreciate that.
Well, there you go. If Jordan's on a game controller with 53.9, that's quite incredible, especially when you consider a recent, what we suspect is a recent gamepad user of iRacing. The iRacing Daytona, which took place recently, the weekend before last, and the team that's been very much the story of this year's Daytona is not Team Redline or all of the usuals. It's the team that got 538 or something instant points. 2 guys who managed to get that between them. So no matter how bad you think your race has been, it could always be worse. And yeah, if you look at the replay, it looks like a lot of these accidents were caused by guys who were just spamming a game controller. But Evan, as you said, we have a change of the championship for the first time this season. Let's have a look at those championship standings. Obviously 2 championships going on at the moment. You will see guys in gold and you will see guys in no gold. The guys in no gold are for the overall championship, of which, as we said, Kamto Chukwa leads 171 for the RTA favourite and close friend of Evan Dalton, I think it's fair to say, followed by Travis Mawhinney on 164, then Brandon McGahan on 161, Conor Melia on 160, and then Jack Wynn on 157, Kevin Joyce on 147, Peter McCann 143, Harvey Darby on 142, Ken Doyle on 141, and Jan Zoutevella took flight last week in Silverstone, but still in with the running on 130. Now, this series is not just about RTA glory, but it's very much about the championship standings you will see in a second, because these guys are racing for the opportunity to drive in the real world in the Formula V Championship in Montella this year. So Campto Chukwa again leads that. Travis Mawini in second and Jack Wynn in third. So plenty of support with Jack Wynn in the chat, the streamer. Evan putting himself in a great position to be potentially Ireland's next Jimmy Broadbent.
Potentially the inter-content creator battle, which has Lawrence de Soswa third in what he thought was a two-horse race. Ken Doyle, of course, picking up a podium last week in heat number 3 with third, but Jack Wynn performing excellently. It was disappointing from Kevin Joyce in Silverstone. He was up there as well, but look, there's only still have like one race-ish points separating them. It's exceptionally close, and ironically we keep saying oh well, the scholarship drivers are not fighting for the championship. 2 scholarship drivers, 1 and 2. So it goes to show when these guys put their minds to something, they are up there with the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks again to Bois Motorsport and indeed Gamerfest for their continued support of this series. Bois highlighting again, doing some great work with some of the reels they've put out this week in the lead up to this race. Hopefully, plenty of people joining us, and we're keeping an eye on you in the chat as the race goes on. So we're going back to qualifying. We're just heading out now. Plenty of drivers out on track, Evan, and as you said in your build up earlier, elbows out no more so than in qualifying.
Yeah, qualifying is going to be very interesting tonight, because if you start at the front, the likelihood is if you drive all clean, you will stay at the front towards the end, unless we get a recreation of the infamous Finley Melvin jump start, which was one of the greatest motor racing clips of all time. If you can go back and find it, please do. It's well worth 20 seconds of your time. But anyways, that's going to be a problem. Lawrence de Salles are spinning straight in front of Jack Wynn, and that is not ideal. Jack Wynn will have to head back to the pits, as I assume he's picked up wheel damage from that. But yeah, it's a very close circuit. It's rather cramped in sort of the Graham Hill bend down towards Surtees section of it. Very important to get a good lap in with the slipstream.
Yeah, really important to get a good lap in, as we're, again, unfortunately, some of the issues that plagued us last week at Silverstone are rearing their head. We had a good final race, but it took a while for it to settle down, so hopefully we can get those sorted for you shortly. But we might have to cut away for a bit to get that sorted, but rather get it done now than during the race. Dara Halley is top of my leaderboard at the moment with a 54.038, then followed by Travis Mawini, and then Robbie Callahan, and then Campto. So for Campto, as you said, Ev, it's the first time he's ever led an RTA championship, and I can't think of a better one to lead given what's on the line this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Campto is someone who really wants to win this championship, of course, is one of few in Ireland who race very high-level sim racing. He was the 2023 Gamerfest sim racing winner. Of course, our fabulous partners raced in the Racing Prodigy Search. Was a finalist 4 times in that. He's tested real-world machinery over with our good friends in France. So it's something that Campto wants to achieve, and he's going about it in all the right ways, leading the championship, driving very clean, sacrificing maybe 1 or 2 positions in heats to prioritise a safe points finish, and that's paid its dividends after 3 rounds. Heading into round 4, though, it's a long journey until the end, until we pick our prize winners, so Campto's got to keep it up, and got to up the ante that a little bit more, because you can assure Travis will be.
Yeah, it will be, absolutely. And I mean, the thing is, you look at guys like Dylan and Sean McClemens, who neither of them, for different reasons, are eligible for the actual seat. But, really, really quick drivers. Dylan, obviously, multiple winner of RTA. And yet you have a situation where neither of them are really anywhere in the top standings just because they've been involved in so many incidents. So it's funny how when you look at guys like Campto or Travis, or even guys like, Jan generally, and Jack Wynn, like, there's so much on the line for these guys and they take it so seriously. It's not a mess around on a Tuesday. There's a huge amount of laps put in for these. And I suppose ultimately with that potential prize, obviously the championship plays its part. We'll also have the interview section with which many have been completed. But there's so much on the line for these guys. Like they don't really want to be messing around, and they don't want to be putting themselves in jeopardy, because it's, as we said earlier, like the people who are offering these seats are also watching on, and they're racing themselves in some examples, so they know exactly who they can trust and who they can't on track. So that's going to play a big part as well, in terms of who gets those spots.
Yeah, and the likes for Travis and Camto and Jack and Kevin, they're trying to prove themselves at the same time as well. They are very much aware that the championship position is not the sole factor that decides this prize. They're trying to prove themselves. What better way to prove yourself than beating Conor Mealy and Sean McClements, two Formula V racers, out on track? What better way to prove it? And we've seen Dylan do that, but of course Dylan not eligible. Camso has done that in the past, but needs to do it over a season. And thankfully, when Sean has had his troubles, Dylan's had his troubles, they've been putting in the results and getting the results to prove that, look, maybe they can go toe to toe with the real world racers. Speaking of Dylan McClements, just in case you felt the last year has gone very quickly, folks, this week last year we crowned Dylan McClements an RTA champion for the first time back in the LMP2s, which to me feels like it was only a couple of months ago, but it goes to show how quick an RTA year can pass by.
Yeah, it's been really, really quick year. And Evan, for yourself, an exceptionally busy year. I alluded to the fact that you were in Crow Park last Saturday. It's your new home at the moment. You've been on a lot of the commentary duty. So how have you found, I suppose, the new moving? I know you've done obviously a lot of real world commentary in the past, but it certainly seems like, in terms of Crow Park, you're getting lots of work.
Yeah, it's been cool. I'm out of there for, I think, I'm out there until Paddy's Day, I want to say now, but yeah, it's cool. I'm not going to talk too much about Gaelic football in here because people will have no interest. But when you grow up playing the sport and you grow up going to Crow Park all the time, it's very cool to be able to work at those events. And look, I hope that's something I can do more in my future. Travel to racetracks to work there. If there's anyone watching and you need a commentator, just email me. I'm more than free. So yeah, look, very cool, and yeah, glad for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's funny, and we won't talk too much about it, but I've never been to Crow Park as a supporter. I've only ever been to Crow Park as a member of the press. So the only section I've ever seen of Crow Park is the press section, which I think is
Yeah,
an
sandwich
unusual one.
selection wasn't great on Saturday. Now I would just like to put that out
Yeah,
there.
they did. They still do the cup of soups out in
Cup of
the
soup,
counter.
tea, and coffee. Tea, lovely now. I have too much tea,
Really?
but the sandwiches,
Oh,
they
God.
usually have a chicken and pesto one. But when I went at half time, I think all the RTE lads had stolen them. There was only three cheese and onion, and that didn't really fancy me. So, yeah, brilliant stadium, one of the best in the world. I love going there. Back when I was a WGA season ticket holder, it was fantastic, but sandwich game could be improved.
Well, I can tell you, the fact you even get a sandwich and a soup at a match is well above any of the most of the stadiums that I go to. You're bringing your own stuff if you're lucky. Yeah.
The
Thanks to all of
Radio
you. For,
Kerry lads do bring their own flask to
well,
Crow Park, I'd like to say,
yeah.
and mugs, not like even travel mugs, just like ceramic mug from out of the kitchen, and that I can respect.
That's absolutely commitment to the cause. Jordan Kelly still leading qualifying. He led practice and he's leading qualifying at the moment. So uh, I have my suspicions whether Jordan's information to you is entirely accurate, Evan. I'll be honest. I've also been told, and thanks again to Ronan Hederman for his work in the background, we are now flying at the moment. I've been told, and he's read my mind here, we have to keep an eye out for a certain Pavlo Kishkan,
Ah,
who's running a livery at the moment. Now, folks, if any of you don't know what Evan Dalton looks like, and hopefully we'll be able to get an even closer view of this than we do already.
don't
Um,
get too scared.
you, you can have a very pixelated um, view of our co-commentator here. I feel this follows in tradition because I remember my first ever race commentating back in the day alongside Jack Canan and seeing a beardy man's face with a pair of glasses on the back of BMW M4, no, M4, no, M8 GTE, the Chungus GTE with driven by David Yamamoto back in the day. I'm wondering who the hell is that guy? And as it turns out, it was
It's a
our
good
race
look at it.
broadcaster. So there you go. Yep, there's a very good look at it as Pablo just gives us a little bit of a pirouette. And Rainmaster in the at the back as well. So yeah, are you a Rainmaster, Evan Dalton?
Well, the running joke last Wednesday was because I was karting and like I drove well for like the first time and it was wet, but Pablo sent a photo of me going across the line. I won the race and I fist pumped and he just caught me doing the fist pump. So then that became the running joke. I got my one and only ever RTA podium in the rain as well. So seemingly now they were comparing me to Senna. The creepier thing is that like the photos of me on the side of that car, there's no photo with me at that angle, which is even creepier. Like it is a full combination of me and Ayrton Senna, which is it scared me when Paolo said it to me, to be brutally honest.
Never underestimate the lengths of which RTA drivers go to get somebody else's face on their car. Right. Chris McCann says he remembers the Yamamoto livery with Ronan Hederman's face on the back. Yes, I do. Le Mans, I think, was the first ever time we had done it, and I believe that Jordan Kelly did a 3:45, which is the quickest time I think I'd ever seen in that car. I was struggling to do 4 minutes at the time, and I was blown away by the standard there, and I've been here ever since. Chris also says he hopes Jordan isn't on the controller. Plenty of support again for Jack
Oh,
Wynn,
Kevin Joyce.
Kevin CXX7. Oh my God, let's come back to that in a second. Papa Brown involved, and also hello to Rob Parks and Keith Dempsey, who are in the chat as well. These are absolute legends going back along. So great to have them joining us, along with some plenty new fans as well, following some of the streamers. So a lovely mix of old and new here in the chat. We love to hear your comments over the course of the day. But as all that rambling's going on, Kevin Joyce with a 53.8.
Yeah, the Crayola livery, which he says he hopes becomes an iconic racing livery on his behalf earlier in the week, has just become the first man in the 53.8. So that's a monster of a lap from Kevin Joyce. He could pull into the pits now because I don't think he's going to repeat that one. But that would be, I want to say it'll be his first ever RTA pole position. I can't remember him taking one, but we'll have to see what happens if that lap can stay.
Yeah, absolutely. 53.8 around here. It's not the quickest lap you can do around here, mind you. But let's have a look at this Brands Hatch Indy circuit. This is, as I said, an RTA staple before we get to the back to the live action. And as we said, we're in the town of West Kingsdown, just off the M20 in the county of Kent. This is a six track, just about 2 mile track here. As we will take it from the finish line, going on forwards from there. We're on board with our qualifying leader as at the moment, Kevin Joyce, as we round the Clark curve and onto the Brabham straight, getting out as wide as possible here for the Paddock Hill bend. Very steep decline. You can't see it in the game, but when you see it in real life, it is quite substantial, the drop down the Paddock Hill bends. You're fighting the understeer that's pushing you as you're going downhill, and then you come back uphill towards Druids Bend. Now you can take this a number of ways. Some guys decide to hug the curb and come around. Some guys decide to go through it and turn it into a double corner. As you come down towards Graham Hill Bend, plenty of action here, especially when we see cars go too wide. You can go quite wide on that exit without occurring an incident point, but we do see a lot of guys chopping across and causing incidents there. Then we're down towards Surtees and indeed McLaren, named after the famous Bruce, and indeed all of the racing that's followed him. Current Formula One World Constructors Champions, and with the Drivers' Champion as well, of course, with Lando Norris. And finally, rounding once again the Clark Curve, named after the famous Jim, and across to Brabham Straight. So that's a lap here of the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. As I said, phallic looking. Unfortunately, when I draw the track map, it kind of put me off a little bit. Certainly, if you pointed in the wrong direction. But as we say, these guys are very, very keen, shall we say, for this track at RTA. So it's one we see a lot, and one we expect that the regular runners should be very familiar with, Evan.
Yeah, if you don't know Brands Hatch and you're a regular RTA driver, then get to know. Unfortunately, because we race this track a lot, but it's a brilliant track. I cast my eyes back to I cast my mind back to the Super Formula Lights season, where Dylan McClements and Jordan Kelly had a monster of a battle in the Heat 3 there. One of the best defensive efforts I've ever seen from Dylan McClements. First ever Gantry TV stream was here at Brands Hatch with yourself, Kevin, and Jack Canan. But that is Kevin Joyce, who's on pole position for Brands Hatch here tonight. And that is an excellent lap from Kevin in what was a fairly lacklustre week in Silverstone. He has returned and on good form. It is Kevin Joyce who will start on pole position alongside Brandon McGaughan, Jordan Kelly in third, Travis Mawhinney in fourth, Jean Zoutevella in fifth, Sean McClements then in sixth out of Peter McCann, Conor Melia, Dylan McClements, Dara Halley, Robbie Callaghan will line up in 11th alongside Tony Griffin. That'll be Sean McGoldrick, Lawrence de Sosua, Harvey Dara, Jack Wynne, Dermot Toomey, Ken Doyle, Camto Chukwa, championship leader in 19th, Paolo Kishkan, then it'll be Lorcan Walsh, Dara O'Connor, Paul O'Mahony, Ross Wheatley, Jared Thornton, Lee Coogan, Emmett Dempsey, Ronan Keane, David Prunty, Niall Leahy, Sean Smith, and good old Jamal Gandor at the back of the grid. Two names that stand out to me there, Kevin, is Jack Wynne and Camto Chukwa.
Yeah, Captain Chuckle way down. Jack went down as well. Great to see Jamal back on the grid. I suspect he didn't get a huge amount of time in these machines before he took track. But yeah, Kevin Joyce. It's going to make for great entertainment on Kevin Joyce's channel. He said he was rushing through the last video to make the most of the one recently. I'm sure he'll be taking this time over this one if he finishes where he begins this opening heat. But down into Paddock Hill Bend, the inside line is probably usually the best here, Evan. You don't want to get pushed too far out wide, and oftentimes that's where the accidents happen. So P1 being on the inside line here can be a huge advantage.
Yes, this will be a very entertaining one as the 5 red lights go out and let's let battle commence in Brands. Brandon McGaughan, great start. Kevin Joyce may have missed a gear or bogged down on the line because Jordan Kelly and Brandon McGaughan are already ahead in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Great start, Jan Zoutevella up 2 positions and Kevin Joyce finds himself falling down the grid from that perfect qualifying lap that saw him start on pole. Sean McClements goes for the outside on Travis Mawhinney, but it's going to be McGaughan, Kelly, Zoutevella, Mawhinney, McClements, your top 5.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Joyce giving his best Arsenal impression there, starting on front and then absolutely bottling it. As a big accent, Robbie Callaghan going off in the distance there. I don't know, was he involved with Camto Chukwa in that instant, but they were running pretty close together. Robbie goes off there, as I said, that corner, that Graham Hill bend, always a potential issue. But it's Brandon McGaughan who's gotten the jump here. He's followed closely by Jordan Kelly. So 2 RTA veterans leading the Flying Postman, or the Flying Dutchman, Jan Zoutevella, and Travis Mawhinney, once again the best of our scholarship runners.
Yeah, poor Robbie Callaghan, one of the scholarship-eligible drivers, really hasn't had the rub of the green this season, and Jordan Kelly's headed all over the AstroTurf in the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, but that was a beautiful move. Now Mawhinney and McClements are side by side, and Travis Mawhinney has found himself in a very difficult position here. He's defending from 2 non-scholarship-eligible drivers who want to do nothing more than just win races, so they're going to be all over his gearbox, looking for moves down the inside, but Jordan Kelly in the number 99, the same scheme that is on his real-life Formula V. Thankfully, he's a bit more straight-line speed in this one, but he leads this race. Jan Zoutevella is on the inside line of Mawhinney here, and Travis is looking for it around the outside. Sean McClements will get the slipstream off the number 19 in front, and Jan Zoutevella may find this one difficult. Mawhinney is ahead of him. Here comes Sean McClements in the 47, has a bit of a distance tow from Brandon McGaughan in front, but it won't be anything too extreme. Who's latest on the brakes? You would think it'll be Zoutevella. It is not, and he'll keep the position.
Yeah, Jordan Kelly, though, once again, doing great job of keeping Brandon McGaughan at bay. It was a super move around the outside in the last lap, and this time he turns attacking the defence as Travis Mawhinney now tries to move through the Druids corner. He's managed to get into second. Now, will he be able to carry enough speed through this middle section to hang on? Just an update, Jack Wynne, Lawrence de Soswa having an issue. He was up a few places, but he's dropped down the order now. Jack Wynne up 2 places. Camto Chukwa is only up 1, and that's from the Robbie Callaghan incident. He's up 2 now. He's just overtaken Pavlo Kishkan, but not easy running here for our championship leader thus far. The number 7 car finding it difficult to get forward. Just seems to lack that pace.
Yes, we had the great flood in Southside Dublin today, but this is like Noah's Ark down towards turn number 1. 2 by 2 they go. Now Sean McClemens makes it 3 wide on the outside. His cousin Ronan Doherty predicts him for the win in the stream chat. Kevin Joyce has spun round on the apex. He's collected Peter McCann.
Peter will be fuming because Peter said in the comments that Kevin had him to thank for the toe of getting him the quality lead. So he's certainly not repaying the favour there as Kevin Joyce spinning out. And what a disaster for Joyce having started on pole. I think the pressure just got to him a little bit. It did Kevin Joyce. And unfortunately now himself and Peter McCann out of the running. Travis Mawhinney, big gap now. He was amongst a gaggle of machines earlier on. Now he finds himself right in the middle as plenty of tyre smoke coming off some of these cars through the corner. Don't see any lockups, but plenty of smoke coming off. Probably just the extra bit of dust that's on this circuit. As we see plenty of gravel being kicked in from earlier instances as well. So Jordan Kelly still leads us across the line. Brandon McCahan in second. Then Sean McClemens up 3 places into third. Great running so far by the 47 car. He's had a poor season by his standards thus far, but he'll be hoping to fly the Antrim flag once again as we have another one off in the distance. That's Darragh O'Connor, I think. That's the banana liveried car, is it?
Yeah, disappointing. Darragh O'Connor was actually up 6 spots, so he'd had a good start, but it is Jordan Kelly in the lead. Travis will be okay, thankfully. He was within the slipstream the whole time. It's about 8 tenths of a second, as Chris McCann alluded to in the stream chat. So it is about 8 tenths of a second where you can get your slip from. So anyone in the top 14 here will be fine realistically. Sean McClemens in third position. Team DDR have not won a race this season. Of course, they are a driver short, but the last time they hadn't won a race by round 4 was probably in prehistoric times, as RTA, as we all know, did exist before the Big Bang. As Brandon McGaughan is looking for the move on the outside of Jordan Kelly, not able to find it. Is there going to be a bit of a lunge in towards Druids of turn number 2? Jordan Kelly defends the inside and McGaughan is looking for it on the outside. Sean McClemens has just nipped this car up the inside and he's going to try and follow the Donegalman in front, and Brandon McGaughan, no, he is going to be able to defend.
Yeah, he does. He has enough, does McGahan, but that doesn't mean that Sean McClemens is going to go away. These guys race side by side very often, and obviously Sean, unlucky in the Formula V's last year in real life. He'll be hoping to have a better run in real life in the coming season. Unfortunately, he has to back out of that one, but that gap that Travis Mawhinney had in front of him now all of a sudden disappears as we once again aboard the Brands Hatch Express. No fewer than I think 11 or 12 carriages on this as Travis Mawhinney tries to go around the outside here. Is he going to get pinned to the outside as he tries goes round Sean McClemens? So there's a little bit of a touching of vulcanized rubber here, but both of them managing to come through unscathed. Will Sean McClemens hold on? He has the inside for Druids. He's going to have the outside now for Graham Hill. Can Travis? No, he can't get it done as once again Jordan trying to battle off Brandon McGahan. There's so many battles here, and I suspect, Evan, we see a lot of cars running wide there on Graham Hill Bend. I suspect these guys will be picking up X points. Now, it mightn't count over the 10-minute race, but certainly when we get into the longer races, we might find that might come back to bite them.
Yeah, good point for the longer races. I do think they're quite lenient on track limits on the outside of the Graham Hill bend, but certainly not the other corners. So it's a bit of a talking point for the later heats, but for now they should be okay. McGahan to the outside, sending it the long way, and he's putting Jordan Kelly under some amount of pressure. Jordan needs to keep eyes on the wing mirrors here, heading in towards turn number 2 once again. But Brandon McGahan's a lot more alongside, and he's pushing Kelly onto that curb on the inside. Jordan loves to brake early, hammer down the loud pedal and get the exit, and that's worked out very well here for him. It's a Formula 4 tactic he's bringing into the Formula V's, and now McGahan is pushing his way and he's looking to look for the inside here, a corner that we all know Jordan Kelly loves. He's going to have a car down his inside at it once again, but it is squeaky clean from Brandon McGahan, and he's going to lead us onto the start-finish straight. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go.
Super racing between these two, and we just hope that they can maintain it right until the checkered flag. But if they don't, this man, Sean McClemens, will be hoping he can profit once he doesn't get too close, as Brandon McGahan gets the inside now, and he's going to get that move done on Jordan Kelly. It's been setting up over a lap. Will Kenny go for the switchback? He does go back down the inside. Can Kelly get it done going into Druids? There's a touch between them. Kelly gets down the inside, has a big contact, and Brandon McGahan goes off. You could see it coming, ladies and gentlemen. The two of them them going side by side. They were getting closer and closer as every lap came along. Unfortunately for Brandon McGahan, this time he is the injured party, but that's certainly Evan a racing incident.
Racing incident. Brandon McGahan was the one who sent someone on there up off their wheels last week and picked up a 15-point penalty for it. Jordan Kelly has sent McGahan up off his wheels, but looked like a racing incident. I'd agree with you with that one, Kevin, but I'm sure we'll have another look at it, and the stewards certainly will. Now, look who it is. It's the two brothers at the front of this one, and both of them are chomping at the bit for a bit of success in this race. Sean McClements lets his brother Dylan through. In terms of the championship, they're both miles down outside of the top 10, not looking at a championship here, so you'd like to think it's going to be a little bit of family versus family at the front. Now we are almost free abreast, and Travis Mawhinney has found himself in third. Jordan Kelly's definitely picked up a bit of damage there. Jan Zoutavella, you can see there in the blue and white on the outside, and it is Sean McGoldrick in the yellow car.
Yeah, where has Dylan McClements come from, by the way, lads? Just all of a sudden appeared.
He's up 8 spots.
8 positions he's gone up. Jordan definitely has damage, but he did make a mistake down into Paddock Hill Bend. I wonder, is he lacking a little bit of downforce? Ended up going wide onto the gravel there, as we'll come through for one last time here around Brands Hatch. And Sean McClements might have left his brother through on the last lap, but he's certainly not leaving him through on this lap, as Sean gets to toe, goes down the inside, and sells his brother. Maybe a dream, maybe a nightmare, as we head down the Paddock Hill Bend for the final time in this opening heat. It is all go here, and it certainly seems like the two brothers have established a gap at the front of the field. A terrible start to the season, but for both of them, they'll know from previous experience that things can be turned around. Conor Melia gets in front of Travis Mawhinney, so a current Formula V driver gets in front of a wannabe, trying to assert his dominance there in the Martini coloured number 56 card. Dylan trying to get it moved out through the last lap, as Evan, you can take us through the final section here, the opening heat.
Yeah, parked beautifully on the apex by Sean McClements, and he is going to become the first of the McClements brothers to take a win. It's arguably taken 4 weeks too long. The number 47 takes the checkered flag just about by 0.029, and it is a great win by Sean McClements, as called by his cousin Ronan Darty a handful of laps ago. Was very good last couple of laps from them, and they worked it very well. Now, not too much drama. Jordan Kelly comes home in third, and Conor Melia in fourth. That's about as old school an RTA top four as we're going to get this season.
Yeah, I mean, these are really stalwarts, showing the new boys how it's done. And, I know Campto's a regular, but when you see guys like Jack Wynn in with a shout of the scholarship, there certainly would be no harm for them to go back and look at the performance of Sean and Dylan McClements. As we said, Dylan up 7 places, Sean up 5, Conor Melia up 4, Sean McGoldrick up 7. And speaking of that man, Jack Wynn, he went up 8 positions, up to 8th, and within a shout of getting the reverse grid pole. Some of the other biggest winners as well. Emma Dempsey, she's being cheered on by Keith. He said earlier in the chat, she went up 11 places to 16 in the number 17 EDR Motorsport. And Jamal Gandor in the Simsa Esports car, keeping it out of the barrier and up 11 places to 21st.
So your full classification from heat number 1, Sean McClements leads home his brother Dylan McClements. Then it is Jordan Kelly, Conor Melia, Jan Zoutavella, Sean McGoldrick, Travis Mawhinney, Jack Wynn, Lawrence de Sousa, Harvey Dara, Campto Chukwa, Dara Halley, Tony Griffin, Brandon McGahan, Ken Doyle, Emma Dempsey, Ross Wheatley, Paul O'Mahony, Dermot Toomey, and David Prunty down in 20th position. Then Jamal Gandor, good race from Jamal that actually. Paolo Kishkan, Sean Smith, Ronan Keane, Peter McCann, Lee Coogan, Jared Thornton, Lorcan Walsh, Dara O'Connor, Niall Leahy, Kevin Joyce, and Robbie Callahan in 32nd. Really though, Kevin, that race showed that the close quarter pressure racing experience really matters.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes, even if you're Brandon McGahan, sometimes even experience isn't good enough for you, as he crashed out. Unfortunately for Kevin Joyce, I feel really sorry for him, having done so well in qualifying, to have such a disappointing opening race. And also for Peter McCann, who was caught up in that incident as well. But for the likes of Jack Wynn and also Campto Chukwa, has managed to get up into 11th place, this could be a big turning point of the evening if they can get a good result here.
Yes, it should. And the five red lights are out, and it is a slide of the rear for Sean McClemens off the front row, but he's got away well, hasn't missed a gear crucially, and he'll lead into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. And Conor Mealy is on the outside of Jordan Kelly here, and Jordan Kelly is going to be able to defend, and it's all fairly single file for the front group, but we're a little bit closer down the back, and Peter McCann I saw running very wide, but making up a position. So it is Sean who leads Dylan, and I think we're going to see some old school Team DDR work here. Just to clarify for some of our newer viewers, Team DDR is Team Damien Doherty Racing, not the Deutschland Democratic Republic, which is the former name of East Germany.
Well, I was going to say it is some sort of East German sort of communist tactics here between the two McClemens brothers, and certainly imposing their will on the rest of the grid in true East German style. Sean McClemens at the front, Dylan on the outside, Jordan's behind them. Now these three guys know each other exceptionally well, but it's once again that Donegal Antrim battle, that Ulster Football Championship we talk about, with Conor Mealy making a Leinster battle, and
That's an
that's
Ulster tackle.
Sean McGoldrick. Oh, that is a hip and shoulder if I've ever seen one. Straight out of Junior B, as Sean McGoldrick was off in the same gravel that Ronan Doherty said it was unusual for him to be watching a race in the very same track where he's seen that gravel. I rather be that than in real life. But for Sean McGoldrick, unfortunately, he was in with an outside chance of a reverse grid pole. This is Orkin Walsh. He's been involved in an incident, the 28 car, one of our scholarship potential candidates way down the back. And Harvey Dara, unfortunately, the Fifes banana, he slipped up on his own livery and he ends up way down the grid. Sean McClemens and Dylan still leading, but look, the gap is much closer now to Jordan Kelly, and Kelly's going to try and move around the outside.
Yeah, Jordan's got to push his way through here if he has to, even if the two McClemens brothers try put up a barricade. Conor Mealy is right behind them as well, and look how close Jordan Kelly's getting. A little bit of a wobble from Sean under the braking. That's going to allow the younger of the two, Dylan, to go through, and they are literally just putting up a barricade at this point. Maybe it is very East Germany tactics from these two. Now that you mention it, Kevin, as Jan Zoutzavella is in fifth position there, but look at this train. This train's going all the way past Emma Dempsey, past Dermot Tooby. Paolo Kishkan is the last car in what is a 16-car train here in Brands Hatch, and we are almost 2 by 2.
Yeah, we got very close there. I don't like having the words trains in East Germany mentioned so close in the same sentence. So we'll
Oh
move
no.
swiftly away
Oh
from that.
no.
Lawrence de Salzo in the number one car. He is on the outside. Of course, Lawrence, a content creator, but very much in with a shout of the scholarship series as well. As you said, Evan, he thought he was in a two-horse race of content creators in third, but obviously with the Kevin Joyce incident earlier, he'll be hoping to catapult himself forward and in seventh position at the moment. Do remember to stay in touch with us in chat if you enjoy the commentary. Give us a subscription, give us a thumbs up to help spread the word, and also tell your friends, because this, lads, if the commentary isn't entertaining, you can be sure the racing will be.
Yeah, apologies for that last one, folks. That's certainly treading the needle, just like Sean McClemens is. Here he's lost the lead for the first time, and it's Jordan Kelly in front, back where he was for most of Heat 1, to be fair. The number 99 is running along the grass voluntarily to hug the inside line. That's how crucial it is in towards Paddock Hill Bend. But here they go. Nip and tuck the yellow wheels, and red body of Jordan Kelly is in the lead, and Sean McClemens is trying to hang it round the outside. You're not going to be able to pull that one off on Jordan Kelly in a month of Sundays.
Yeah, no, usually it's green and yellow for a Donegal, but Jordan's certainly not green when it comes to these machines, and showing all of his experience here. He got the move done, of course, on Brandon McGahan in the same place in the last race, and once again favouring that Paddock Hill Bend. Now, can he pull away from the two McClemens brothers? That is the question, because we're well aware of the Team DDR teamwork that goes on, but they're in the pack as well, so they're not going to be able to have it all their own way, the two McClemens brothers, and Jordan may be able to profit from the pressure that Conor Melia and John Southvella will undoubtedly apply. Travis Mawhinney, we talked about him losing the scholarship leader earlier after the third round at Silverstone, but certainly it's looking a lot better for the number 19 car. He's the leading runners in that scholarship series at the moment, and with Kamto Chukwa down in 11th place and having a poor enough first race as well, the door is wide open now for Mawhinney to get himself back in amongst the reckoning. Now, he is in 5th place at the moment. We're having a look at Conor Melia as that gap is starting to appear really between second place Sean McClements and first place Jordan Kelly. Melia as ahead of Dylan McClements, but don't expect that to be necessarily the case when we cross the line in about 10 minutes time.
Yeah, it's fairly action-packed, this one, isn't it? We're only 5.5 minutes in, and there's been so many changes for the lead. Definitely couldn't keep up with that one, as they are now side by side once again. That's Jamal Gandor, who's become a little bit of lap traffic as the door has opened for Dylan McClements to go down the inside here, has it? No, he breaks nice and early, doesn't want to hit the front two, and ideally these front four would probably like to pull away from the rest of the pack, but I don't think that's going to happen here this evening. Jean Zoutavella has got ahead of Travis Mawhinney, and crucially, so has Lawrence de Sozua. So LD is having a much better week here in Brands Hatch than he had in Silverstone and Lime Rock. Of course, had some connection troubles in Lime Rock as he was almost just sent packing by Travis Mawhinney, but Travis has been very clean this season, so I would have been surprised to see contact made there. That's Dara Halley who's just behind those two.
Yeah, Dara's certainly not going to be afraid to stick his nose in if experience tells anything. Now, this crew are coming up on lap traffic. I'm not sure if that's... Oh, no, it's not Brandon McGowan. It's Jamal Cantor, everybody. I won't say anything, only that Jamal is been in this league a very long time. So I would hope that discretion would be well exercised by Jamal in this circumstance, because he'll know that these guys aren't going to mess around when it comes to overtaking him. Brandon McGowan having the inside line here through Druids. There's a small tap of the left and right fronts here of these two machines as Sean McClements comes back at him and gets the job done through the Graham Hill bend. Super driving there from those two, as we see. It's incredible. It's anytime we see the leaders, we always seem to see about 15 other cars in the background, all within around a second. You can see the timing table there, folks. First down to 13th is absolutely jam packed. And speaking of the teens, Kevin Joyce is up 15 places, back up to 16th. Brandon McGahan up 10 places to 4th.
Yeah, Brandon McGaughlin's had a very good race after that incident in heat number one. We're on board here with Travis Mawhinney, who is just behind Jean Zoutavella. He just got past Lawrence de Sozua, and you can see using all of the exit curb at the Paddock Hill bend. Jordan Kelly leads by 2.5 tenths. That's the biggest gap we've had for the lead in what feels like quite some time, as we're now catching up to Jamal, who has a lot of sim racing experience. But Jamal, you know what?
Well,
We can crack the jokes, but you've nailed that.
no, he has. I mean, apart from the fact that he did a small bit of lawn mowing, but I suppose paying homage perhaps to the fact that this was originally a grass circuit. Jamal Gandor, no, that's a great example of how to do it if you're a lapped car. Speaking of Daytona, plenty of instances where that wasn't necessarily the case. Right, Jordan
We
Kelly
had it a bit in
leading us
Donington
across the
here as
line.
well, of course.
Yeah, we did, of course. Yeah, plenty of it in Donington, especially through that final section. Sean McClements edges his nose ahead of Jordan Kelly, but Jordan will have the inside down for Druids. And Evan, like we talk about it every week, but the close racing by these guys and these machines.
Oh, Sean's clipped.
Sean gets clipped. I'm not sure was that by Jordan Kelly, but he's going to take out a load of cars behind him. I think Jack Wynn's involved in that. Tony Griffin's involved in it. Dara Halley was involved in it. Let's see if we can get a Gantry TV replay on that. There's
Okay.
Jack Wynn, and unfortunately, himself and Ken Doyle, the two content creators, getting far too close for comfort.
I think Brandon might have nudged Sean, to be honest. We need to go. Oh,
Oh.
he spun back in towards Dara Halley, and then is that out to vet now? That was Tony Griffin who went above, and Ken and Jack kind of got away with it. And I think Emma Dempsey got got caught up in that one as well. Right, let's rewatch the full thing then. Sean McClement's on the outside in the blue. That's Brandon McGaughan in the black. Jordan Kelly in the red. Down towards turn number 2. Sean's ran wide and he's been clipped by Brandon McGaughan. And then he spun and really should have held his brakes. And he drove into Dara Halley. And then they all just sort of backed up there. Campto Chukwa, collision avoidance. Excellent. Got away with it. Ken and Jack almost got away with it. And then just made further contact. Not a pretty
Yeah.
one by any stretch.
Yeah, I feel bad for Ken and Jack particularly. Well, I mean, look, I feel bad for anybody caught up in that, particularly when Sean McClements really could have and should have held his break. So I suspect a 15-point penalty will be coming in the post for him. But that's if it ever makes it up there. But the who I felt very sorry for there was Jack Wynn and Ken Doyle. And unfortunately, it's just a case of iRacing glue physics where the two cars come together and they kind of end up getting stuck together, and there's just no way of pulling them apart, no matter how much you try. So that is it was a frustrating one for them because they'd done reasonably well to stay out of contact, and then when they came together, they just kind of got fused together by the iRacing physics. So that's an unfortunate one. As these guys continue now, Brandon McCahan. It's hard to tell, really, Brandon. Like, if he could have done much more there, kept his
He
line on
nudged
the
him.
inside, and he nudged him. But like, did he open up the steering in any way, shape, or form? Did Sean maybe get a
Needing
little
on
bit too
board, I
tight?
think.
Yeah, I'm not too
Can't
sure.
really, we
Well,
couldn't really tell from that angle. It was difficult, but I definitely think he nudged him.
all right. Well, I'm sure the stewards will have a look at that anyway. And not afraid to put the in true East German style, not afraid to flex their influence, our stewards. Um, but yeah,
Let's have a
we're
look
having a
though.
replay here at this instant if we can. I think that's netcode. I think there's a little bit of netcode going on there, if I'm being totally honest.
Let's have a look. Yep, total echo, no contact
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's netcode, but it's predictive netcode, and I feel like they would have come together if it
Yeah,
wasn't for the netcode. But would it have had that big an impact on John McClements? I'm not sure. But either way, McClements not holding the brakes certainly didn't help anybody else in the grid. As unfortunately, that caused a bigger accident than it needed to be. Right, Brandon McGahan still in the fight with Jordan Kelly here. Whether a penalty is incoming or not is a different matter entirely. Conor Melia in third, Travis Mawini in fourth, and Travis has a good gap now between himself and Lawrence. You can see Travis in the white, almost graffitied machine, Lawrence down the back. Excuse me, of that train. It seems a little bit strange to be yawning, given how close all these guys are together in amongst all this adrenaline. But it's Evan. This is the one time we haven't had somebody dive bomb or try and get past somebody. So yeah, Jordan Kelly still leading us into Druids, but Travis now is in a bit of a pickle here. Does he stick or does he twist? Because he's in a good position at the moment, but he'll obviously be looking to try and get as many points as possible.
if I'm Travis, I would just try survive the rest of this race. The only other scholarship eligible driver with them is Jean Zoudevella. Maybe try make a couple of positions. He's got to be careful as well because Jean and Lawrence, of course, are both chasing this championship. They know that in a couple of weeks' time, that the grid gets cut and the top 10 will only be the ones still eligible come the last 2 rounds. It's like golf. You want to make it to the Saturday or Sunday, and they both want to make it to the final 2 rounds. So be interesting to see how they play this. Are they going to be hungry and trying to overtake Travis? But nevertheless, the top 3 aren't fighting for any sort of race seats. So it is put the hammer down, try get yourself a race win, and Brandon McGaughan has got to do that, looking for the outside.
Oh, this is pure bragging rights now between these two guys who know each other so well, both on and off the track. Jordan Kelly and Brandon McGahan, they've raced together for so long. And Brandon, yeah, putting all kinds of pressure on Jordan, but Jordan managing to hold him off as we have probably one more lap left after this, I suspect. Let's see how the timing goes, but we'll be very tight for one more lap if it is a second lap. But Jordan, now Conor Melia tries to go around the outside, but I think he's going to leave now the door open for Travis Mawini to go down the inside, and that just goes to show you, like, one small move, you try and launch an attack at the wrong time, and all of a sudden you find yourself going backwards. And now all of a sudden it's Travis Mawini putting the pressure on the two at the front, as Brandon tries to go around the outside down through Paddock Hill Bend.
Yes, here comes Brandon. I think we will just about get 2 laps in. And Brandon McGaughan is on the outside here at Jordan Kelly and pulls very far to the left. Doesn't want to end up in that gravel trap on the outside once again. And Dylan McClemens is hungry for his first race win. Wouldn't it be great to end the two McClemens drought in the same night? Little bit of a wobble between the two.
Yeah, that was an interesting move by McGann. In amongst all that, we missed a super move by Dylan McClellan, slipping down the inside of Travis Mawinney, who was caught sleeping there through the opening corner. He's going to have another lap of this, lads. So let's not get too frisky, because otherwise you might end up your race before you begin. And obviously, Brandon McGann also question marks around that instant with Sean McClements. Let's see what he does here now, the number 9 car. Obviously,
Oh,
none
look
of
at
these
what
three
Dylan
at the
has.
front. None of these three at the front are involved in the scholarship battle, but Travis behind them is. So any potential contact between these three could have an implication on the scholarship series, as well as Travis tries to go around the outside, perhaps a safer move.
Yeah, here comes Brandon McGaughan on the outside of Jordan Kelly, and these two, of course, are just hunting for the race win. Brandon is looking for his 5th of the season. Jordan is looking for his first, and there's a little bit of a wobble off the 99, but Jordan Kelly has survived. Is there going to be a lunge down the inside in towards the final couple of corners? We will see. Brandon McGaughan has found the inside. He has just snuck through the gap, and he has the racing line in towards the final corner, and so does Dylan McClemens. Jordan Kelly is looking for the switch back in through here. It's going to be a drag race to the line, not for the first time. Brandon McGaughan parks it on that crucial inside, and Jordan Kelly pulls to the left, but it's going to go to the Ballycat, or is it? It's gone to Jordan Kelly. They made contact just before the line. Brandon thought he had it. It's gone to Jordan Kelly. Buncrana's Kelly has won for the first time this season.
Oh, it's huge. Let's see, obviously, what the stewards have to say about that. I wonder, will Brandon have a word to say about that as well, because the contact surely cost him that race win. Brandon looked like he was going to cross first, and then a touch of the wheels. All of a sudden, a squirrely run across the line, and the smallest thing invites both Kelly and McClements across ahead of him. Look at the gap there, 2 thousandths of a second, and then Brandon McGann again, even closer still, and Travis 3 tenths behind them. Like, look at the finishing times between the top 7 here. Incredible. Kamto Chukwa as well, ladies and gentlemen, will have pole for the feature race. So our current championship leader will certainly be hoping to turn it around in this final race. But what a finale, Evan. We talked about towing these cars, and it just goes to show you the huge impact it has.
Well done, Campto. That is a recovery. Jordan Kelly takes the win, Dylan McClements in second, Brad McGaughan in third, then Travis Mawinney in fourth. Then it is Conor Healy, Lawrence de Salzman, Jean Tavella, Campto Chukwa, Dara O'Connor, Harvey Dara, Paul O'Mahony, Kevin Joyce, Sean McClement, Sean Smith, Lorcan Walsh, Emma Dempsey, Jack Wynn down in 17th. This is really hurting Jack's chances this evening. Jared Thornton, Dermot Toomey, and Peter McCann in 20th position. And then below Peter, we have Ronan Keane, Niall Leahy, Lee Coogan, David Prunty, Jamal Gandor, Ken Doyle, Sean McGoldrick, Ross Wheatley, Dara Halley, Tony Griffin, Robbie Callahan, and Paolo Kushkan. Let's hear then from your race winner, Jordan Kelly.
Had that.
Jordan, congratulations. It's been quite some time, really, since we've had you in as a winner interview, but an excellent race in Brands Hatch. Just talk us through that run to the line from your perspective, because it seemed very close.
Yeah, Brandon got the run into clearways. He done it twice for me in them 2 races. Now I just don't know how to defend against it, because you defend one way or the other way, and it's just you don't know what to do. And I knew I could get, if I got a good gear change, I could get a run, but I think we were just squeezing each other about then, and then we had a bit of contact, and um, we I didn't even think it was a 3 wide across the line, so I didn't even think I could win it. But no, it was good to get back on the wheel instead of the controller for once anyways. And it was great battling with Braden too. I was just the closest racing I've probably ever had in RTA, so can't complain there.
Yeah, what's your mindset in racing like that? Is it just because I know mine would be right, survive, survive, survive. Are you still looking for every opportunity for every little gap, or are you very aware of what's going on around you?
Yeah, you just have to be. You have to use your head a bit, because if you're in the wrong position battling somebody, you'll end up 2 places back. So you just have to be a wee bit patient in a way, but use your brain as well, I think, more than anything else.
Reverse grid then. I think it's been a while since you've had to start eighth because you won the race. Um, what's your mindset going to be? There's going to be a lot of nervy drivers in front of you because they're all scholarship eligible. What's the Jordan Kelly approach?
I think I'm just going to be safe in this one. I think I just wanted to win the night, so I'm happy with whatever place I finish now.
Jordan, thank you very much for joining us as always.
See you later. Thanks.
And now, somehow, second place in that one, Dylan McClements with Kevin.
Dylan McClements, amazing couple of races. Like you climbed up so many places in the opening race, and then a further 8 places in this race, and it's just. I suppose talk us through the last two. We certainly found your race pace ahead of qualifying.
Is this, well, qualifying, I think I was messing up quite a lot. I didn't get a great two, and it wasn't until the last, like, I think lap or so. Sean told me about the shit. So actually, I can't remember. I think it was 10 for qualified, and then I've been trying to keep out of my way of incidents, and I think that's also sort of helped me in some way because I think it was a good bunch in the first race if I can remember, but since my start of the season, I'm a bit more cautious now, staying out of incidents, and it seems to be helping a bit more in these weeks.
Yeah, because when we saw you, we were so used to. Actually, look, Dylan, I'm going to leave you go there. We're gritting up soon. We want to have a chat with Brandon to get his thoughts on the final race. But best of luck at the final race. We move on to Brandon.
Okay, see ya.
Sorry about that. But we will get quickly to Brandon McGahan because I want Evan to have an opportunity to talk to him about his thoughts on that end of that second race.
Yeah, run to the line, Brandon. Talk us through it quickly.
Yeah, got a good move done on the clearways, and then on the run to the line, I was squeezing him up the track. He was squeezing me down the track, and just kind of, there's, I don't think it definitely wasn't my fault. There was I didn't make any sharp steer movements, so it was a brilliant race. In all fairness, like it was real good, clean race with me and Jordan. One of the best races I've had on RTA, definitely.
We wholeheartedly agree. Gonna let you go, grid up, Brandon, and best of luck in Heat 3.
Cheers.
So good to hear from the three lads there, even if Dylan was very briefly, but with the pace he's at tonight, I wouldn't be surprised to see him again.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Certainly finding a very, very good pace as we get ready for this final race. Just having a quick look at the incidents. Dara Halley has reported Sean McClements for that rejoin on in the lap 10 in the second race. Let's see, Jack Wynn has reported himself for that incident as well. Obviously, between that incident between himself and Ken Doyle. And also Tony is in there as well. And Sean has just replied to Dara saying, lock me up. So, yeah. Anyway, Evan, after all that, Kamto Chukwa takes us into our final race.
Yeah, Kamto Chukwa on pole position with Jan Zoutavella alongside him. Two guys who could have won in Silverstone and didn't. So they'll be looking to make amends. Lawrence de Soswa in third. Good starting position for Lawrence here. Good opportunity. Conor Melia is in fourth. And it's Travis Mooney and Brandon McGahan on row 3. Dylan McClements and Jordan Kelly 7th and 8th. Dara O'Connor starting in 9th. Really good pace tonight from Dara, even if unlucky in heat number 1. And then Harvey Dara in 10th position. Then it's Paul O'Mahony and Kevin Joyce who round out row number 6. But yeah, a lot of scholarship opportunity, I think, here, Kevin.
Yeah, and this is a real opportunity for some of these guys. We see Kamto particularly, who's done exceptionally well, Kamto, after a poor qualifying to get himself into this position. Jack Wynn as well, he will be disappointed to finish so far back during the last race. But let's have a look how we go.
Yeah, this is going to be a tasty 20-minute affair here in Brands Hatches. Kamto Chukwa gets off the line nicely and will lead into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Jan Zoutavella, or will Kamto lead? Because Jan Zoutavella has got a bit of momentum and he's got to try and go the long way around. Kamto, though, will be bravest. And Lawrence de Soswa side by side with Conor Melius. Harvey Dara goes falling down the order, and so does someone else. There's a couple of spinners, but I think all our front runners have just about survived. Conor Melia still wants a first win here.
Sorry, I think it's Emma Dempsey going with Harvey, but yeah, definitely the banana skin certainly seems to be the order of the day for Harvey, and unfortunately way down the order again. But Campto managing to hold on to that. Some serious pressure applied by Jean, but Campto still very much top of the tree.
Yeah, two sort of video game liveries in the form of Camto and Jan. They'll go 1 and 2 towards the line. Melia 3, Mawini 4. Then McGaughan, McClemens, DeSoswa, O'Connor, McClemens, Kelly, Lawrence DeSoswa. Very poor start. A good start for Niall Leahy, who's up 4 down the back. But here comes Camto Chukwa and Jan Zautavella, as well as Connor Melia in towards. And I was going to say, we could see Melia. Where's Jan Zautavella gone? But he was gone right round the outside. That one wasn't going to work, as we do see Lorcan Walsh run wide through the beach. But he is A-OK, and they go barreling free wide in towards the hairpin and somehow have all come out of it.
Yeah, Jean seems to have taken the lead there. You said he went very wide, but he set himself up around the outside of Druids, and now he has the inside as he extends that gap there on somebody. And it looks like Campto Chukwa was involved in an incident there. He's gone all the way back down to 8. We didn't get to see it, unfortunately, but Campto, having started on pole, got himself involved in an incident, unfortunately. Whether it was with himself and Lawrence, I'm not sure whether it was by himself, but Campto are now down 7 places. And look who's here. Brandon McGaughan once again battling for the lead, and we're only on lap number 3.
Yeah, Brandon, of course, would want to win the main championship, and he's in the race lead here in Brands Hatch, going for his 5th win. One heat number 3 in Silverstone, one heat number 3 in Donington Park, with a brilliant move that one was on Peter McCann, and he's in the lead. Ahead of Jan Zautavella and Conor Melia, who don't know whether they want to be 2nd or 3rd here. Conor Melia is going to go back down the inside into the famous Graham Hill bend, and Jan Zautavella, the number 35, is going to use all of that exit to his avail. So does one of the yellow cars in the background, Dara O'Connor, who went even wider through there. Peter McCann is side by side here with Kevin Joyce. They made contact in heat number 1 and are back friends again by the looks of things.
Yeah, unfortunately, the iRacing servers, I think, are giving us some jip once more. But yeah, we said that off track was very, very kind on the outside of that bend. I think Dara O'Connor definitely, even I think no amount of off track allowance would have gotten Dara O'Connor off the hook for that one, as we go too wide here, and that's Conor Melia squeezed out into the gravel, and that's going to open up the door now for Sean McClemens to go on the inside of his brother down through Druids, and he gets the job done there. So once again, the McClemens brothers in 3rd and 4th here. Connor's going to try and go for the switchback. He gets past Lawrence DeSoswa, and Campto falling down once again. He's down now to 9th position, so further down the order is Campto. So certainly the Evan Dalton livery isn't doing him well this evening. You've given him some bad luck having your mug on his livery this evening, I think, Evan.
Yeah, shocking. Something associated with me isn't the best in a racing scenario. Who would have thought? As Sean McClemens were looking back from, of course, had my stickers on the side of it, and was probably the unluckiest car in Formula V this season. So don't get associated with me if you want some racing success, I think is the lesson here. As Ronan Hederman, I think he just said one of the bottom put it on the bottom. Yeah. Put the sticker underneath the car. It will get me some good advertising. As Sean McClemens is side by side with Jean Zautavella here, and Zautavella's done very well to hang that round the outside, and he's going to go back down the inside. And that's neat driving from the Dutchman, who really has been a star on the scene this season, and someone who I think we'd like to see transfer over to Tin Tops. But for now, his sole focus is getting in an Irish Formula V.
Yeah, it would be great to see it. It seems like he is eligible again, Jan. We weren't sure whether he was or not, but it seems like he is, which is great for the championship.
Yeah, just to say why we had a bit of confusion, because it wasn't actually Gantry that was confused. It was he needed to confirm with the Dutch racing board, or whatever their official name is, that he could actually obtain the national license for them, which would transfer over. But he can, and he's going to get it in a few weeks' time. So Jean is back in the scholarship.
Brilliant. So it just goes to show you the international collaboration that's going on here for RTA to get this done. So yeah, fair play to Jan, the number 35 car. Very, very quick, Jan, and has his own YouTube account, although he doesn't post quite as frequently as some of our others, particularly Jack Wynn, who is down in 11th at the moment. Update, Jack Wynn update. But yeah, here he is on screen with Peter McCann behind him. But yeah, Jan, great to see him getting involved in this championship, and it does present a super opportunity for drivers outside of the usual RTA. And I know that Peter put up a message only the other day about the amount of people who've joined, and obviously very interested in this series. So hopefully this can be the first of very many scholarship series, because the racing has been out of this world thus far, and you can see it in front of you as we head into the 7th lap. Now we're only a third of the way through, quarter of the way, should I say, through this final race, but already some fierce battling going on up the front, and it is Brandon McGahan that leads Sean McClemens, then Dylan McClemens, then Conor Melia, then Jordan Kelly, and as we said, Evan, it's the kind of stalwarts who seem to be ruling the roost at this kind of regular RTA hunt.
Yeah, it's kind of the first race this season where we've seen massive sort of pack racing. I know Lime Rock, we had a lot of cars in the slipstream or whatever, but they were mostly single file. These guys, it seems like they've been too wide here, and it is the regulars who have raced like this before in RTA who are the ones succeeding here. Sean McClemens is up 11 positions to second, 12 if he's able to get in first here. So this has been a big night for him, and it's a bit of the classic Sean McClemens we seem to get once a season in RTA, where he's just on the money. Of course, still has this bad luck sprinkled in between, but it has been excellent here tonight, as has Dylan. It's been a very strange RTA season, I think. This is a little bit more of the regular.
Yeah, it is. It's strange in its regularity, in that, you know, we've had so many different drivers battling up the front, and we haven't seen the likes of the Jordan Kellys because he's been on a controller, and the two McClemens brothers have just had kind of disastrous seasons. Now Brandon has been, as you said, this would be his 6th race win, am I right in saying, or his 5th race win of the season? Obviously, cruelly denied at the finish line there in the last race. So, like, Brandon certainly flying the usual flag, but a lot of these guys who would be expected to be up the front haven't quite had the seasons that they would have been hoping for themselves. So this is, again, a bit of a return to normality, and you can see that these guys are so used to racing with each other. They're so comfortable racing in close quarters with one another. They practice a huge amount, as much as they say they don't. I can tell you they absolutely do. When you look at their statistics, as that's Dylan definitely picking up an off track on the outside. But like, you still have in amongst there, you've Jan Zoutvela, who was up around the front not so long ago. You've Travis Mawini, and again Lawrence de Soswa, who we know has been on the scene for a very long time, but hasn't been involved in RTA nearly as much as we would have liked in the last couple of seasons. So please, Lawrence, do come back to us after this season. We know your Tuesday nights are usually busy with streaming, but I'm sure you can accommodate us in a very busy week. Plenty going on, I know, in Lawrence's life. Never mind the fact that most of his cars, real life cars, are on blocks, so he has to get around to doing some of those. Right, Brandon leading, Sean leading Connor, leaving Dylan leading Connor, leading Jan. Evan, any idea of where this is going to finish up?
No, it's like, you know, the machine they have for the National Lottery, where the balls just all bounce around it. The cars are currently the balls bouncing around the machine. They're changing order every split second. Very hard to predict. I'm going to hint towards the chat thinking about a driver of the day, but honestly, you have a few minutes because this could all change. We've really seen, as we got into the sort of the final quarter of the race, one dramatic incident in the two earlier heats. It was at the about the 7-minute mark where Brandon McGahan went off in heat 1. Sean McClemens had his tip round at about the 15th mark. What's going to happen, or sorry, in the last race about the 10-minute mark, what's going to happen at the 15-minute mark here as Sean McClemens goes for the outside, and he's been given the big squeeze by Brandon McGahan. Sean's got to be careful not to cut in and clip Conor Melia's nose cone, but they all go weaving their way down towards turn number 2, and Conor Melia is looking for the outside on Sean McClemens. These two getting an early taste of what each other can bring to the table in 2026, because of course they plan on battling throughout the season. Of course, I'm sure both are still very much looking for some assistance with funding, so feel free to contact their respective agents for that. Jack Wynn has had a decent recovery here, as we see Jan Zoutvela fall down the order.
Yeah, big disappointment for Jan, because he was still very much in amongst the running, but a mistake there at the Graham Hill bend on the outside. I think he did that all by himself. Perhaps he outbroke himself, and eventually finds himself now way down the order. Contact between Brandon and Sean again. Definite contact between those two cars, and definitely once again it's Brandon who loses out. And this shakes things again, because it'll invite Dylan McClemens down the inside as Conor Melia takes the race lead.
Yeah, Conor Amelia in the race lead, and he is looking still for his first win of the season. We know Conor loves racing these Vs, loves racing any sort of single seater. Big IndyCar fan is Conor Amelia, and he's doing a good job at the front of this one. The two McClements brothers are side by side behind him, and we still have 8 cars involved in this fight for the win after 10 minutes. This is cracking stuff. Peter McCann is up 11 places in this one, as we are being told in the stream chat. Robbie Callahan up 14. So Robbie, who hasn't really had a look in at being a front runner this season, still doing what we know he can do best, and Sean McClements is sideways, and he has hit and collected his brother in it.
Oh no, a McClements calamity through the final corner here on lap number 12 or lap number 11. Let's have a look at the replay here again. I had a look over to have a look at some of the other front runners and to have a look at where Robbie Callahan is, but let's have a look back on this replay if we can recall. Oh, that's actually Dylan It's Dylan collecting Sean, not the other way around. Dylan goes into the back of Sean and spins him round. Going to be a tense breakfast table tomorrow morning, I suspect.
Yeah, it was just a case of really 8 cars were in the one spot, weren't they? And Dylan just mistimed it a little bit, hit his brother's rear wheel. But to be fair, if there's anyone you don't want to spin round, it's your brother or your teammate. But got to get the head down for the next however minutes here and pick up championship points. They're both still in contention. Both still might be able to catch that top group. Sean McClements is only 1.7 off Kamto Chukwa. So if they all start going side by side, there's an opportunity here. Get the head down. Go for it.
Yeah, Jordan Kelly, speaking of, he's going for it, as is Brandon McGahan down the inside. Brandon got a massive toe, but Jordan looking for a switch back there. That's super stuff from the 99 car. Can he get down the inside? Contact between the two. And a spin for Brandon McGahan. He manages to hold on to it. Can he? Just about. He's in 4th position, Brandon, but that contact between himself and Jordan shoved him off into an area where there wasn't as much rubber. Brandon doing brilliantly to hold on to the car. Great car control from the number 4, but he will, or number 9, should I say, wearing a number 4 livery. But very disappointing for Brandon McGahan, having put himself in the lead very shortly. He found himself battling with the machine after that contact. And Lawrence de Soswa up to 4th position.
Yes, what a brilliant switchback by Jordan Kelly. Was able to pull off that one and sent Brandon to the shops and then sent him even a little bit further to the shops, out to the backyard after they made contact. But Brandon, really, really good stuff to hold on to that one. They're all still in this one. You can see Sean McClements in the background. He has Peter McCann to work with. Usually these two would have their titanic battles, but I imagine they're both going to be working together here, slipstreaming off each other to try and catch this train. We saw one little bit of contact. There is always the opportunity for more, and damage for Dylan sends him in the pits, and unfortunately this season's luck has come back to haunt him.
Yeah, unfortunately for Dylan, it was good to hear him talk about trying to avoid incidents, because he had an awful lot, whether those are even of his own making. It's very hard to tell, especially when you're down the back. But certainly in Dylan's case, that was, certainly, I think Dylan, the onus was on the younger brother there. And as you said, Evan, the only person that could actually potentially piss in your cornflakes is the one person he managed to annoy. So, that's certainly not what you want. Right, Brandon tried that move down the inside again. He couldn't get it done. This is where he got pushed out on the outside earlier on. He manages to hug the inside now, and this time it's Jordan Kelly forced to the outside. Jordan will have the inside for the Graham Hill bend. Connor trying to stamp his authority, but Jordan putting his V machine where no one could possibly get in there, and manages to hold on. But this is going to be, once again, the three of them drag racing to the front. And that 10 minutes, I don't know about you, but it feels like only 2 minutes ago I was talking about us being a quarter through the race. Lawrence de Sosma and Brandon McCann coming together. And Lawrence, unfortunately, not just sent to the shops, but sent, I think, to the regional after that one. Let's have a look. And I'm not sure, was it Brandon McGahan where the contact came from at Lawrence? It could have been Travis Mawhinney. Looks like it might have been Mawhinney. Let's have a look. Yep. It was Mawhinney around the outside, and Lawrence sent into the barrier here at the McLaren curve. And
Travis could be in trouble for that.
Yeah, he might be. It's hard to. It's so
Brandon's
hard.
Gone. Brandon, what's happened, Brandon? He's fallen down the order. He's behind Peter McCann now. So something has happened to Brandon while we were looking at the replay.
And Conor Amelia, both of them have meatballs.
Yeah, and that's Brandon McGaughan, who has a steering or a suspension failure or a steering arm failure or something. So these two have made contact somewhere. Let's have a look at the Gantry TV replay then, if we get a look at it. So that's two of the big front runners out. That's three of the front runners out of this one in the blink of an eye. And there were 1-2 as well. Is it a case of at the hairpin? It looks like it. And Brandon McGaughan has he turned in a bit there on Conor Melia? And yeah, into the wall. That'll do it.
And once again, I think a bit of iRacing physics playing its part there, because the two of them becoming locked together. Now let's try and get back on track with the live action. There's only 4 minutes left in this feature race, and it's Jordan Kelly who leads. Kelly, who just about got over the line first in the second race. He says he's glad to be back on wheel. I'm surprised, Evan, you didn't take him to task about his earlier mistruth. Or fake news about his use of a controller, but Jordan certainly.
Me and Jordan get on well.
Oh, well,
You learn to forget.
okay.
I'm gonna punch his face in after.
Let's clip that. Right, Peter McCann ahead of behind Sean McClemens, should I say? McClemens is coming well, and look, all of a sudden, like Camto Chukwe, what a race it's been for the number 7, from front to back and back to front for Camto Chukwe, as he watches Travis Mawhinney and Jordan Kelly battle it out. And I'm sure Camto will be hoping that Travis certainly gets involved in a right raring old battle here, because Camto is certainly battling with the number 19 car for the overall championship. And Travis, this would be a great result for the 19, given the fact that he started on P5. He's got up to P2, while Camto started on the pole, of course, and is now down to third. So overall, this would be a net great gain for the number 19 car if he can hold on to it.
Yeah, if he can hold on to it. Jordan Kelly must really fancy himself now, because he only has the 2 behind him, and I know he'll be thinking, I'm better drivers than these guys, I can beat them. Well, let's see if that's the case here at 3 minutes to go. Peter McCann is going to give Sean McClemens the bump draft. Peter, one of few people who can do this in a Formula V, so that's probably a good thing we're not giving him the keys to the real one, and all in all. Otherwise, it may cost us a fortune in nose cones. But a bit of contact between these three in front. Sean McClemens and Peter McCann are right there. Chris McCann pointing out that a great comeback for Kevin Joyce in this one, and yeah, totally agree. After what happened to Kevin in the start of this race, he has really reset and done well.
Yeah, done superbly well. There's Jack Wynn. Jack going into the back of Robbie Callahan, and this time it's not Callahan who comes out as the injured party, but Jack Wynn, who touches the nose cone. Speaking of damaged nose cones, Jack Wynn goes round at Druid's Bend. Right, we were talking about Jordan Kelly, and we were talking about that battle up the front, and you made the point earlier, Evan, that Jordan Kelly will be thinking to himself, well, I'm better than these guys, and I'll be able to pull away from them. These aren't the McClemens brothers, are the guys that I'm used to. But equally, the likes of Travis Mawhinney and Camto Chukwe, this would be a line in the sand. I know Camto has raced with Jordan plenty and knows how good he is, but for Travis, like, obviously aware of Jordan Kelly's prowess, but Travis will be saying, right, this is an opportunity for me to show myself that I'm well able to mix it with the very best. So why not have a cut off a guy who's British Formula 4 champion? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. To be honest, if Jordan...
Contact!
Oh, that's more contact. Who's that gone bouncing? Oh, that's Conor Melia. His evening just gets worse, and poor Conor Melia has bounced off into the gravel. He's now down to 20th position. All in all, it's the first time that Travis Mawhinney and Camto Chukwe, first and second in the championship, are going toe-to-toe this season. So if Jordan Kelly would there's Sean McClemens off in a straight line. That's the bump drafting gone very wrong, I can imagine. And he's kept it out of the wall very well indeed. I imagine that is the bump drafting gone wrong. And we'll have a look at the replay. We are on to the last lap, folks, so we'll keep an eye at the top 3. And Travis Mawhinney has just taken the race lead, and Travis and Jordan are side by side. But let's have a look at this. And it has to be the bump drafting gone wrong, surely. Yes, it is. That's a Peter McCann incident if I've ever seen it, but we're going to have to cut back here to the battle for the race win, as it looks like it's Jordan Kelly out in front. The experienced Jordan Kelly and Camto Chukwe and Travis Mawhinney are side by side here, heading up the hill in towards the final couple of corners. Who's going to go for broke? Will it be Travis Mawhinney? Jordan Kelly just about leads, but Mawhinney and Chukwe, the scholarship eligible drivers, are side by side, and Camto Chukwe has gone for the switchback. He's gone for the run to the line, and Travis Mawhinney's just covered him off here. Excellent move by Travis Mawhinney to get into the toe. Who's going to take it? Jordan Kelly's going to take the race win, and Travis Mawhinney will take second ahead of Camto.
Yeah, that was great driving by Travis Mawhinney because like he's Jordan Kelly in front of him, and he could have tried to stick behind Jordan, get the toe, and try and pull past him, but he knew he needed to cover off Travis because the last thing he or Campto, because the last thing he wanted was Campto taking that toe and going past him as well. So great driving by Travis Mawhinney to finish in second place, and a super drive from Campto as well to pull himself back after that uh, incident. Still not sure what happened to him to put him from first down to last, but or down to eighth, should I say? But great recovery drive. Sean McClemens finishes in eighth. Peter McCann finishes in fourth, but unfortunately, the steward will have to serve himself a penalty after that. And Kevin Joyce up 5 places, up to or up 7 places, should I say, to P5. Do get your shout for driver of the day, of course, in the chat. And then we have Diarmuid Toomey, Darragh Connor, and as I said, Sean McClemens rounding off the top 8. But Evan, let's see how everyone finished in this final race of round 4 of the RTA Formula V Scholarship Series.
So Jordan Kelly takes the race win. Travis Mawhinney in second. Capto Chukwa is in third. Peter McCann in fourth. Kevin Joyce in fifth. Diarmuid Toomey in sixth. Darragh O'Connor in seventh. Sean McClemens is in eighth ahead of Shazza Tabella and Robbie Callahan. Good recovery from Robbie in 10th. Sean McGoldrick in 11th. Harvey Darragh in 12th. Jack Wynn 13th. Niall Leahy in 14th. Lawrence de Salzwa in 15th. Paul O'Mahony in 16th. David Prunty 17th. Ronan Keane, Sean Smith and Conor Melia down in 20th position. 21st then, Gerard Thornton, Ross Wheatley, Lorcan Walsh, Dylan McClements, Lee Coogan, Jamal Gandor, Ken Doyle, Brandon McGohan, Dara Halley, Tony Griffin, Paolo Kishkan and Emmett Dempsey. We're going to have our race winner now, Jordan Kelly, coming into us. And Kevin, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, give us a bit of Jordan Kelly action,
Candle.
absolutely. Jordan Kelly, your my fellow co-commentator saw your boys in action in the football on Saturday, and it seems like you had a equally successful evening of it.
Yeah, I can't complain. I was surprised there that last race because I was down in like 12th or 13th after I missed 2 years off the start. So no, it was hard trying to break up the Great Wall Antrim there, but they kind of done that themselves. I think in the end of well, I think Connor had contact with Brandon, but that was good.
Well,
It was good battling all the same.
it's funny you mentioned a Great Wall because certain people in the chat have been likening the DDR name to East Germany this evening.
Oh,
So it's
no.
funny. It's
Jeez.
funny you mentioned it,
There's
trying to
always
break down a big wall.
uh,
Now you said you really enjoy getting back on the wheel, and we enjoy you getting back on the wheel because it means we get to see the best of you. So my question inevitably is, how often will we get to see you in Buncrana on that wheel for the rest of the championship?
just pray for bad weather, I suppose. That's probably the only way I'll be up home. So no, we'll see how it goes. It probably won't be next week, but you never know. You never know when we'll be back in the wheel. You
I
mightn't
think
see me for a while now, though.
we need to crowdfund a G29 mobile setup for you to take
Uh,
with you wherever you go, Jordan.
yeah,
And look again, like super racing, and we were talking about it there in the final race because obviously, like you guys haven't been near the front. The usual suspects, I would say, the McClemens brothers, Conor Melia, yourself. I know Brandon's been there, but at the final race there, you had two scholarship potential candidates in the form of Campto Chukwa and Travis Mawhinney alongside you. So, tell me a little bit about what you know about those two guys and racing against them, and about what you think they might add to the Formula V series if they got a seat.
well, just seeing them come on RTA in the first place was like you can see the step up they've made since they've joined, like the racecraft and everything. Even that last lap, like it was it was nailed right and all right up until the last corner, say. But no, it's good to see them. I know Travis done the minis last year, so he's obviously quick winning that scholarship. So no, it's good to see. I think the two of them are up the front of that or the V scholarship there, so it'll be good to see either of them on the V really. So I'm sure they'd do very well if they did win one of the three places.
And for yourself, Formula 4 this season, or what's the plan?
Yeah, probably a couple of races and then just the end of year big events kind of hopefully. We'll see how it goes.
Brilliant. Well, Jordan, thanks very much as ever for joining us. Congratulations. 2 race wins this evening. Great to see you back on the wheel, even though I know you lied to Evan about it earlier. He's too nice to bring it up.
Uh,
But But I've brought it up on his behalf unwillingly. But look, Gordon, well done, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you soon, and hopefully you'll be able to get back in that rig sooner rather than later.
Hopefully so, Kevin. We'll chat to you later.
Really great to speak as ever to Jordan Kelly. And we are joined this time by our second place driver and a man that Jordan spoke in very glowing terms about, Travis Mawhinney, joined by Evan Dalton.
Travis, congratulations on the podium. Very important battle, I suppose, at the end of that race. How important is it to get a result over your championship rival, Camto?
Yeah, I think it was good going there. Obviously, it's going to be very important going to the halfway point of the season if I want to win the title and at the same time win the scholarship as well. I think throughout all the races, I think everyone was just bunched up, and it was some clean racing here and there, but sometimes it's just everything's going on. People is gonna catch up on you and just make contact. I experienced that one time going to turn one, I think race 2. I respected Sean McGoldrick's space, and then the car just rolled into him. There's nothing I could do there. But in terms of positioning, other than the potential penalty that might come up, I think it's going to be good going to the next half of the season.
Yeah, just to talk to you briefly about that incident with Lawrence heading into the final quarter. What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I don't know what happened there. It's either I mistakenly went into him or I think I was on the apex there. I'm gonna have to look back at that. I'm not really sure if I was at fault or not, but yeah, I'm just gonna have to look at that again and see what the crack was. But I'm not too sure what happened there.
What do you have to do to become champion and win the scholarship then?
I think I have to be both the fastest and the cleanest, which is going to be some job, like, because everyone,
Easier
again,
said than done.
I know everyone's going to be bunched up and everything. That's going to be the hardest part for me. And on the plus side, I need to get the best positions much as possible at the same time, which is going to be another difficult task for me going into the next half. So really, I just want to be clean and get to the front as soon as possible without hitting anybody. I'm starting to get very wary of that now if I want to win the title. So I just want to go from there.
Travis, great to hear from you, and thank you very much for joining us for the interview. Congratulations on second place, and best of luck throughout the rest of the season, but I'm sure we'll be hearing from you again.
Yeah, thank you guys. Cheers.
And now our third place driver, Captain Chukwa with Kevin.
Capto, the Rainmaster was on your car, but in dry weather, you got the job done. Well done, your third place finish. A very tight one there at the end with Travis, but unfortunately, I think a little bit of Evan's weight held you down there. Is it fair
That
to
was
say?
Pavlo, not Camto.
Oh yeah, not Campto. Sorry, Campto's running an all black livery. Sorry, Campto. I'm going to reset there and go again. Third place finish. You've got nothing to do with Evan Dalton, but happy how the race went.
Towards the end of the race, yeah, I was happy with that. The start of the whole session, I was struggling from the start, like yesterday's practice session and towards qualifying today. I just didn't have the pace whatsoever compared to the other guys, or where I started throughout the start of the season. So I qualified 19 to a 20th, which was probably my worst qualifying I think ever. But then I think just surviving and just avoiding incidents is kind of what helped me get closer towards the front again, because I know in the first race I got I think 11s, and second race I got 8, which helped with the reverse pole, and I was able to just stick with the front pack instead of getting in the middle of the mid pack and then losing that train. So towards the end it was nice. It was nice to get a podium as well, because I didn't think I was going to get a podium this race because of the lack of pace I had, but I'm happy it worked out in the end.
Yeah, you came into the race top of the scholarship championship. Did that weigh on your shoulders going into tonight?
No, not really. I've looked at it, and then it was nice to lead the championship, but I didn't want it to distract me or anything. I didn't want to think about it. I just want to just give the results that I can give and just continue from there. Because even qualifying 19th, it was already a struggle from the start. But I didn't want to think about the championship, and I still don't want to think about it because we're only halfway through the season. There's still another 4 race weeks to go. So I could win, I could not win the championship, but it's not really my focus. If I even get the top 3 in the championship, that's already a win for me. But it'd be nice to win, but it's not the main focus for me, at least not right now.
Yeah, and tell me, in terms of the scholarship series, which you've of course signed up for, have you done those interviews, and how if so, how did you feel the interview went?
Yeah, I did the very first one because I wanted to try to get it done before college started. So Ronan was very kind to give me his spot. So massive thank you to him. But I think the interview went well. I was happy with how it went. I feel like I don't know exactly how the scoring goes or anything like that, but I feel like the answer I gave, um, I don't know how to put it into proper words, but I think I'm happy with the answers I gave, to put it that way.
Brilliant. So look, Camto, you're certainly showing on track in terms of race pace. And sometimes, it's not about being hot lapping, but it's about how you manage to work your way through the grid in real life as it is in the sim. So certainly showed that tonight. And look, the very best of luck to you as we head forward in the season. And yeah, for your chances in the scholarship series.
Thanks so much. See you guys.
So that was Camp to Chukwa. My apologies, Evan. I thought I had you. I thought I had a pinned great moment there, and then I realised I was focusing on completely the wrong car because, as you correctly pointed out, it was Pavlo, who was nowhere near a podium this evening, so we never got an opportunity to talk to him about his livery. So hopefully he gets one at some point if we get to talk about him what he has in his car. But yeah,
Maybe not.
or maybe not. Campto certainly plenty of praise as well from Jordan Kelly. Great to hear. Obviously, a guy with so much real world racing experience talking about just how much these guys have come on, and of course, the scholarship series offers an opportunity for them to put those learnings into the real world.
Yeah, you literally won't meet a nicer guy than Jordan, but that's besides the point. You also won't meet someone who is as interested as in racing as Jordan Kelly. He knows a good driver when he sees it. He knows we have some good talent on our hands here in RTA. Also, speaking of Jordan, there was a few people in the chat who voted him their Gantry TV driver of the day. I think we're mostly in agreement, Kevin.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan, we normally wouldn't because he's normally vying for a championship, but given all the things he's had this season with the controllers and whatnot, just shows once again how good he is when he has the proper equipment and earns this week's Gantry TV driver of the day. So that wraps things up
Sorry to
here.
butt in, Kevin, but I think you'll find this funny. I heard Earn, and my PTSD kicked in and thought it was an Earn Tiles joke coming.
Yeah. No, we need Peter McCann back there. Look at Sean McClemens in the background, by the way, Tokyo drifting through that final corner. Right, we head away from I would say, our European rounds. We've 3 rounds in Britain done and dusted. And now we head for a much more international flavour. Next week, we're heading to Road Atlanta to kick off our second month of this scholarship series. It's been a long January, lads. But we've 4 rounds in February to come. Road Atlanta is our next stop. We're off to Brazelton in Georgia for that. And then we cross across the Pacific Ocean over to Okayama in Japan before we head right back to Europe for Hockenheim and then Sebring in Florida to finish off with. And if rumors are to be told, it won't be blue skies for all of these rounds from now until the end of the season. So plenty more for these drivers to look after. So do join us. Remember, you can head to RTA of virtualmotorsports.com. That was where you will get all of the updates on the season. Remember as well, thanks to our sponsors, Gamerfest, Ireland's leading a series of gaming festivals. Tickets are live at the moment for the 2026 version, which takes place from the 23rd and 24th of May in the hall number 1 at the RDS. That is RDA Virtual Motorsport, where you can keep an eye on all of the championship proceedings. As I said, Gamerfest in Dublin, 23rd and 24th of May at the RDS. I'm sure there'll be plenty of sim racing content for everyone who is involved in that one. And of course, check out Bois Motorsport for their ongoing updates of all things Irish motor racing, which includes our superb. And I know it has its quirks, which we all enjoy. But where would we be without Mondello Park? We certainly wouldn't have the community that we have today if it weren't for Ireland's premier motorsport venue, and hopefully a track that we will see come on in leaps and bounds in the near future and potentially be available for more racing series going forward. Right, that is it from us here at Gantry TV for this week's. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Thanks to Evan Waltz. Thanks to Chris McCann. Thanks to Pulsar26. Thanks to all of the Jack Wynn fan club. Who else is there? Emerald Car Shots Photography for his support right across. Thanks to all of you for watching. Do, as I said, share the link to your friends for next week's running in Road Atlanta. It's set to be a really good one on a track that we don't get to see very much, the short version of the Road Atlanta circuit. And do join us at 9 o'clock next week, where we will be looking forward to the second half of this RTA Formula V Scholarship Series. My thanks to Evan Dalton for joining me, and my thanks to Ronan Hederman for his superb work in the background. But until next week, slán go fóill.